Okay, so this is going to be another lecture on VPC service control. So for the entire playlist, you can just click on this particular icon over here. So in this particular lecture, we'll talk about Ingress. So here I have a cloud storage, which is covered by our service perimeter. So what if another virtual machine, which is in another project, and this particular virtual machine wants to connect to this particular cloud storage API, which is covered under your service perimeter. So to do that, what we can use is something called as an ingress. So you can create an ingress rule that connects this particular virtual machine to this particular cloud storage API, which is under a service perimeter. So let's see how we can do this. So let's go back to our console. Okay, so let's open the perimeter that we had previously created. So let's open this restrict storage. And if you see the current configuration, it is basically protecting this particular resource of this particular project. And another important thing to remember is that the VPC accessible service has all service allowed. That means a virtual machine within this particular project can access this particular Google Storage API. So let's try that. So here I created a virtual machine, which is basically within the same project. So let's do a gsutil ls. And you can see that it gives an output. So that means that our Google Cloud Storage is accessible for this particular virtual machine since the VPC service has all service allowed. So let's do one more thing. So within this particular bucket, I have a file called do not delete this bucket.md. So let's open this. And you can see that the output of this particular file looks something like this. So what I'll do is I'll create another virtual machine in another project. So if I go through this particular drop down, so what we'll do next is we'll create another project. So here I have another project called GCP function project. And within this GCP function project, I'll create another virtual machine. And I log into that virtual machine and I'll try to access the same file that I did previously. That is this particular file. That is a gsutilcat for this particular file. So let's see what would happen if you try to access the same file from a virtual machine in another project. So let's copy this. So here I have created a virtual machine in another project, that is the GCP function project. And let's try to access that same file in our cloud storage. And it'll throw an error saying that access denied permission. So to get permission, what we need to do is we need to add an ingress rule. So let's do that. So let's go to our edit perimeter. And let's go to our ingress rule. And let's add a rule over here. So here you need to add from which particular API or which particular attribute you want to access that particular perimeter. So let's add a source. So the source would be a project, and this would define the new project that has a virtual machine. So let's get this particular ID. Let's copy this and let's select this particular project. And also the identity. So the identity that I would give would be a selected identity, and I would give the service account for that particular virtual machine. So if I go to my IAM again for my new project, so you can see that the compute engine default service account is this. So this particular default service account has to be added over here. So for this particular default service account, I'm giving permission to access a particular perimeter. So let's select this and click on save. And finally, you also need to give the project to which you need to give access. So this would basically be the same project that has a perimeter. So this is that particular project ID. Let's copy this. Let's select this. And you can either give to all service or the selected service. So let's give to the selected service. And here I'll choose the cloud storage API. So what I'm doing here is basically this particular service account, which resides in this particular project, I'm giving access to the cloud storage API within the project that contains the perimeter. So that's the only thing you need to do. You can click on save now. And once you've saved it, let's go back to our virtual machine and let's see if you can access it now. So let's open this and let's again do a gsutil. And let's try to access this. So let's just, and finally, after a few tries, you can see that you get this particular output. So that means permission has been given to this particular virtual machine to access that particular cloud storage API. So I hope this was a useful lecture. If you have any other issues with this, please get in touch with me. I'll see you in the next.